Hello, welcome to another episode of Guns and Yellow Ribbons. I'm Fergus, I'm your host. It's just me and Hilsey. But we don't want it just to be me and Hilsey, do we, Trev? We want everybody else to join in. Sorry, I got something going on my other ear. Um, we just want other people to join in, and you can join the show tonight by following the link below, which is on gunsandyellowribbons.com /show. Join the show, have your say. Let's talk about the season. Enjoy the show.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.
Trevor, I got so many screens going on here, and all the bits and pieces of the technology. It got hold of me there. I've got YouTube going because I want to put comments in there. I've got the website set up for the link, and this. It's just me and you. It's very lonely here, isn't it?
It is, Ferg. But you've had me laughing already. It wouldn't be you if you didn't make a complete and utter mess of the intro, would it? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what you're all about, mate. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's just you and me. If anyone comes and joins us, it'll be good fun. But you know me, Fergus, I can talk for the next hour, mate. No problem. What a season we're going to reflect on tonight, mate, eh?
We are. Before I make that link live, and the link will be this one here, gunsandyellowribbons.com show. It will be live in a couple of minutes. I wanted to ask you, Trevor, a little bit of a couple of questions. Some of the questions that we'll probably talk to our listeners about what you thought of the season. So, well, we now know who is going to be in the Premier League this season, or next season. We know Leicester and Ipswich made automatic promotion, and Southampton yesterday beat Leeds in the playoff final. So if I was to ask you a question about next season, what are your predictions straight away? Champions.
Well, if anyone don't say the Arsenal, they're in big trouble tonight. If anyone don't say the Arsenal, I'm on to them.
Okay. Promoted. Who gets promoted out of the Championship into the Premier League next season?
I don't know, Ferg. I don't even know who's in the Championship.
Oh,
the only ones I know that are in the Championship are Sheffield United, Burnley and Luton, because they've gone down. I don't look down there, do I? I watch proper football, don't I?
Awful.
I watch proper football.
Listen, the link is open. We've already got one in the green room. When you're in, if you've got your phone, just turn that landscape and stick on earphones. It probably makes it easier. I'll be in a quiet space, but it's gunsandyellowribbons.com /show. The other one, relegated. Who do you think out of the sides that we got in there? Now, that you got to know this one, Trevor. Who gets relegated next season, in your view?
Tottenham, Chelsea and West Ham.
It's got to be one of those days, isn't it? and who are your dark horses?
My dark horses this year would be, I think that Leicester are going to come up and have an half decent season. I really do.
Okay. And the final question, David put it to us in our WhatsApp group. Next season, does Mikel Arteta have to win a trophy?
No, not in any way, shape, or form. We'll all be disappointed if he doesn't win a trophy. But if I feel like I did at the end of this season, that we'd given it everything in the league and we just weren't good enough at the end. But I don't think we could have been a lot better. You know, every team's lost an odd game or two. If I have that feeling at the end of the season, then I can't complain, can I? Although I know we've got the squad that's meant we've had to prioritise Champions League and the Premiership. I understand that, but I would like to see us have a bit more of a run in the FA and League Cups this year. The FA Cup in particular, we're well known for having a run, aren't we? And I'd like to see us do well this year. Go deep into the competition, Ferg.
No, I agree. I'd like us to see the FA Cup in particular for sure. Right, listen, we've got a couple of people in the background waiting. The first one who's going to come and join us is Hus. Hus, welcome to the show, mate. Good to see you.
Hey, how you guys doing? You all right?
All right, mate. Man, look at that memorabilia. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, mate. I love that background. Love it.
I like Fergus cap. I don't know where he got that from, but it's wicked.
I don't know either, Hus. I don't know either. Hus, so tell everybody where you're from, how long you've been going to the Arsenal. Are you a season ticket holder? Are you a silver member? Who are you and what are you? Introduce yourself.
Okay. So 35 years old, been going to Arsenal as long as I can remember from the Highbury days. I'm indeed a season ticket holder, part of the Block 5 corner. So I have the pleasure of seeing these two gentlemen most weekends when we're at home. And yeah, I mean, for me, football is everything. I love football. And to be fair, the transformation we've had in the last few seasons has just been phenomenal. So yeah, really good.
And you go to how many games a season? All the games, home, away?
Generally, I go to all the home games. I think I missed 2 this season because I had just family stuff on. I get to the odd away game here and there, but again, I have a young family, so it's kind of difficult for me to travel to home and away. I'd love to, but I try to get to all the home games, to be fair.
Yes, time and money, mate. Time and money. And what's your favourite block, hey?
Funny you should say that. I never leave home without Block 5, right? So
wow.
but nice. To be honest, I think that's half the reason I love the club the way I do, is the connection that I feel we've got in that little corner of the stadium. It's such a lovely energy. I mean, you arrive on a match day, you get there an hour and a half early. You know, everyone kind of knows everyone now. Everyone's in good spirits. There's a good sing, a good song. And to be honest, I feel like the energy that block transmits then comes out onto the pitch. You know, I remember going to the football like a decade ago where there just wasn't an atmosphere like that. You know, times were very bleak as an Arsenal fan. But now, you know, you especially when you look back at the Amazon Prime documentary when Arteta's talking and he talks about the energy that they will transmit, like Edison's light bulb thing that he come up with. But he talks about the fans and he's like, you give it to them and they'll give it back to you tenfold. And I feel we do that.
No, Trevor, it's quite funny now that Hus talks about people coming in an hour and a half beforehand. Back in the old days at the North Bank with the Peanut Man and everything else, that's what you did. You got in, you got your slot on the North Bank a couple of hours beforehand. But it seems like Block 5 is, and some of the other blocks are starting to get that in the stadium, so people are getting in earlier.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone went onto the North Bank very early, but if you wanted your spot, your regular spot, you got in there. And if someone was in your regular spot, you sort of got next to them and shuffled them out of the way a bit, you know, slowly but surely. Nudged them until you had your space. Yeah, do you know what? As I couldn't agree with you more, mate. There's a special atmosphere being created last season and into this season in that corner of the ground, and it definitely generates all round. I was talking to John Matthews earlier, who's a good friend of mine on social media, and we were saying, you know, that it's only the last season or two that I've really felt that the Emirates is becoming home. You know. I mean, I'm an old head, so I had so many years going to Highbury. It's hard. It was hard to move on. But I think now we're watching great football and we're watching a team that we know wants to play for the badge on the shirt, right? It makes it a lot easier to think of the Emirates at home. All we need now to top it off is a trophy, I reckon, mate.
Mm. Absolutely. I mean, I think a lot's been said, especially in the last couple of days, about the fact that we played as well as we did and we didn't get this trophy, right? But I bring people's attention back to this time last year. Last year, I think we all felt a lot more dejected, right? And ultimately, positional-wise, we haven't really changed. The true reality, however, is though you can see this club is on an upward trajectory cycle. And I'm not going to look. City got more points than us. They went on to win the title. That's their thing, right? But the reality is, I think if you look at what we've done in 2024, it's remarkable. And you just, people were saying at the end of last season, well, that was Arsenal's big chance. They've blown it and it's not going to get any better. Well, funnily enough, it is getting better and we're just getting stronger and stronger. Even everything, you know, from the top down is just clicking perfectly. The signings we're making, the youth coming through, you know, we're a club that really and truly do need that trophy, I feel. But, you know, it's not even, someone said, would you be happy with an FA Cup? And the truth is, I think this team can push on and do more. I think this team can challenge in Europe, you know, but I think certainly the Premier League, I don't see any reason why next season we can't take that. And that's me being honest. It's not even me being a rose-tinted glasses kind of guy.
Yeah.
Conscious. Go on, Trev.
I'm listening to what it's going to be really interesting tonight, listening to what all these great fans of the Arsenal have to say, right? And I would say that next year, I don't think we've got to win a trophy, but I'm at a stage now where I'm actually expecting us to win a trophy.
Yeah.
I know we're that good. I know we are. And I know Arteta is that good a manager who's going to tweak us again during the summer. And as I said on the podcast the other night, and this you jogged me about it. At the end of a couple of seasons ago, we were finishing 20 odd points, even more behind the leader, right? So we're all thinking we've got a massive bit of ground to make up, a huge ground to make up. But last season and then this season, it's even better. We're 2 points away. We've not got to do a lot. You know what I mean? We've just got to find that tiny little bit extra, and we're there. I'm expecting. I am. Sorry, Ferg, I've butted in there, mate.
No, it's okay. I suppose talk about recruitment. Some of the recruitment we made last summer with Timber, with Raya, and we had Havertz. Has your view on Havertz changed from the start of the season to the end of the season, Hus? Sorry.
Thanks, Berg. Thanks, Berg. I've actually learned, don't question Edu and Arteta's signings. When we signed Havertz, I thought, I'll be honest, I was one of the people that was very worried. I didn't understand what he was there to do, because from what I saw of him at Chelsea, I just didn't think that he really would bring a lot to the club. But what I would say is, I think for the first half of the season, Havertz was asked to play in a position that probably isn't that natural for him. And he did a fairly good job there in the in like that kind of central midfield role. When we pushed him up top, when we needed him there, that boy brings chaos and versatility. And I tell you something, I got no problem watching Havertz play for us now. You know, I got no problem with that. I'll be honest with you, at the end of the season, I don't know if you saw the sort of cutscenes when we all got home, but Havertz's face at the end of that last ball being kicked and realizing we weren't champions, that's a boy that wants to play for this club, and he knows what a chance he's got, and he wants to do it the right way for everyone. And that I could build it. That's what you build a team around. You build a team around players that want to be there. And for me, I think he's brilliant. Timber, I don't know enough about, but from the little I've seen of him, I think he's going to do great.
Do you think?
I'm the set.
Sorry, I've done it again, Ferg. I've done it again, son. I'm sorry. My view on Havertz is, Ferg's gone. Look, Ferg's dropped off. He's not having anything to do with us. My view on Havertz.
I'm leaving you two carry on.
My view on Havertz, mate, is that at the start of the season, when we got him from Chelsea, he was broken. He was broken. And gradually, over the course of the season, we fixed him. You know, we fixed him as a positional player. We fixed him in his head with his confidence. And like you said just then, we were reaping the benefits at the end of the season. I was so pleased with him.
That analogy is one that one of our lot in Block 5 was coming out with Danny. She said he was a bit like a rescue dog at the beginning of the season. We'd taken him in and he just needed to learn how to be house trained. But the minute he became sort of house trained, he's just turned into this brilliant footballer for us. And I think he's another one that isn't even close to his potential peak yet. I think he's got so many more gears he can unlock. You know, hopefully he has a decent Euros as well, doesn't pick up any injuries. I think he starts next season pretty well, because if he continues anywhere in that kind of similarity of form and he starts the season that well, that's going to be really helpful, you know.
Yeah. Hus, what we're going to do is we'll keep you on here at the minute, but we'll bring in Fionn. Fionn, if you want to turn on your microphone and camera, I can see you here backstage, bringing you in. Fionn, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
How are you, lads? I'm good. How are you?
Good. Body accent, and I know you as well. You're from the motherland, aren't you? You're from Ireland.
Yeah, from Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you recovered from your last trip to the Highbury and the Emirates?
Of course I have. Yeah, it was in April for Luton. I was there. I know it was a 5:30 kickoff on Wednesday, but the atmosphere was unreal. It still gives me shivers just thinking about it. I just love being there. It's my first time at the Emirates as well.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Trevor, you weren't at that game, unfortunately. It was a midweek game, but it actually, for a Tuesday night, midweek, it went off in Block 5, good and proper. And Fionn stood there in the background at first. And then he just slowly crept in. And before you know it, he's like, give it all of this and everything.
You can't help it, can you, mate? You can't help it.
You can't.
It gets you going. And then even an old one like me, I hobble around and have to join in. Yeah, brilliant.
I loved it. The concourse is unreal.
We asked his views on Havertz. Has your views on Havertz changed as the season progressed?
Well, at the start of the season, I wasn't sure. Like, when we first signed him, I was skeptical. Then, after the first few games towards October, actually, I was talking about it with there's this lad I know on the subway, and he'd completely written him off. And I said, just give it a few months, trust Arteta. And come November, I think, when we moved him up top, game against Brentford, after that, I almost fell in love with him. I love Havertz now. I love seeing him up top.
And that's down to the recruitment that Edu and Garlic and Arteta are doing. If you were in their position, or you had some influence over them, who would you sell this summer, first of all?
Well, it hurts me to say, but Ramsdale. If we don't make more than 30 million on him, I think that's a lost cause. And it looks like he's going to Newcastle. But it does hurt me to say. That would be the first for me. And after that, maybe Nketiah. I just don't think he brings what we need.
How much do we have to give with Eddie to get rid of him?
Stop it. Don't answer that, Phil. Don't answer that.
Sorry. that was a shit question. Sorry. Trevor, come on. You've got a question for Fionn then.
Have I?
Yeah, of course you have.
Fionn, are we going to win it next year, mate?
Of course. I have no doubt in my mind. We're only getting better. Like, we see it every season. Like, the season we finish below Spurs, we come back, we go for top 4, we end up challenging the title. We don't make it. This season, we were closer than ever. We missed out in the last day. I think definitely next season we'll get it. We have to.
Yeah, I have to agree. And if look where we are with these players. Do you think we need to? I think we've got a good enough team now to win the league. A good enough team, but I think we could do with buying a couple more just to bolster the squad a bit when it comes to the cups and when it comes to them games where someone's injured. What do you reckon?
I think 1 or 2 signings, like big signings, would be nice. But I think the squad that we have now is genuinely good enough to win the Premier League. And I think, like, the squad this season, I think was by far the best team in the Premier League. I know we missed out on the small games, but look at our big games, big 6. I mean, we were undefeated. Like, I think the squad we had this season was good enough, but we just missed out. But I think 1 or 2 signings should bolster us. I think we will go on to do it next season.
Listen, as it's up on the screen there at the moment, if you want to join the show, there is space at the minute. We got gunsandyellowribbons.com/show. It's on YouTube in the comments as well. So if you want to click on the link, it's really easy to join. Fionn, you say you were over for the Luton game and you really enjoyed it. So mostly you watch it on TV. Has the atmosphere, because I don't get to see us often on TV, and Huss and Trevor doesn't that much because we're there. Has the atmosphere and how it's transmitted on TV, has the atmosphere that we've experienced, has that come across on telly?
I won't lie, the atmosphere seems a bit amplified on TV. It always has. It always seems a bit louder. But, like, regardless, even for like a 5:30 kickoff on Wednesday, the atmosphere was amazing. And it was Luton as well. And it was midweek. The atmosphere was amazing, but I think all the time on TV it will seem amplified a bit louder, as they usually do.
Next season, we know that Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton are coming up. I'll put this to you first, Fionn, and then I'll come to Huss as well. Champions, promoted, relegated, and dark horses. Champions. Who are champions next season? Trevor's watching, by
the way. Champions is obviously Arsenal. And then I think relegated, I think it has to be Ipswich, Southampton. I think Leicester will stay up. And I think maybe Forest will go down. So I think relegated is Ipswich, Southampton, and Forest. And then dark horses, I don't like to say it, but I think Chelsea will be dark horses. I think they will make the push for top 4, in my opinion. I know they've just sacked Pochettino, but I do think they are my dark horses.
And promoted, do Who would you
Promoted.
who would you like to see promoted?
I'd like to see Sunderland and Hull promoted and Luton back to the Premier League. I'd like to see those three promoted.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to see it.
Oh, I'd like to see Hull promoted. Definitely Hull. That's only
It's only around the corner from you.
only 45 minutes up the road for me. That goes in nicely.
It's all about Trevor. All about Trevor.
Of course it is.
Hus, same questions to you then. Next season, champions, promoted, relegated, dark horses.
Arsenal for champions.
Do you genuinely believe that, Hus? Honestly,
Ferg, I'm a terrible liar. You know this about me. So if I didn't honestly believe it, I wouldn't say it. And the true reality of why I say that is because you have to look at present form. And we finished this season. Statistically, there is no team in 2024 that has done what we've done. We've missed out by margins, but even in the Champions League, we haven't mentioned that, with one goal. That was it. Smallest margin there is knocked us out, So, of course, I believe this team can do it. I, on the other hand, believe that we need 2 or 3 players to do it, but I have faith in Arteta and Edu to get that done for us. I think dark horses, which will probably be a controversial opinion, I think United, because as much as people look at that team and say they're off the pace, they're this, they're that, I've just got a funny feeling that they're going to come through. They're going to have a decent transfer window, and I think they'll come through. And I think they're going to recoup some money this window as well. So they'll be able to strengthen and bolster and maybe fix the hole in their roof. I think relegation-wise, I can't see Ipswich staying up. I think Brentford could finally get the chop, especially if they lose Tony. I don't think they've looked good at all this year. I think who else could go? I think Leicester will. There's enough about Leicester to stay up. I hope they do, actually. I quite like Leicester. They're all right. Who else will go? Maybe, I don't know. I'm undecided on the last one, but that's where I am. And I think probably next season, I wouldn't mind seeing Sunderland back up. They've been away for a while. Luton, to be honest, I think I like that club because they're just the craziest stadium in the world. I think Leeds will be in the mix, but again, not too sure. So yeah, that's just kind of where I sit on that.
Yeah, personally, I'd like to see Luton come back up again. I thought they could, of the 3 teams that came up, I thought they actually gave it the most genuine fight. They scored in all bar one game, right through the season. The only game they didn't score against is against obviously the Arsenal. Jesus, Zinni, Martinelli, Fionn. Actually, Trevor, I'll come to you on this one. Jesus, Zinni, Martinelli. What would you do with these 3 in the summer?
Well, Martinelli, I want to keep because he's still a developing young player.
Yeah,
I think that Jesus, I want to see Jesus playing in our team, but I want to see him playing as part of the squad that fills in the wide faces. I think we clearly showed to be better with Havertz through the middle, and that's no disrespect to Jesus. I think Jesus is better in a different area of the pitch. Zinchenko, I'm not sure about Zinchenko, mate. That would depend on who was available to sign and whether Timber stayed fit. Because the left of all the positions on the field, the left back is the one that was discussed most last season. And in credit to him, I thought that when Tomiyasu come in for the last few games, I don't think Tomiyasu let us down at all. As a matter of fact, I think Tomiyasu performed really well. I was really pleased with him. So, yeah, Zinchenko, I'm not sure about, but the other 2, I'd like it to stay, mate, definitely.
Fionn, you can come in on that question if you want, or else would you rather talk about the Cups and the Champions League?
I'll come in with the question.
Okay.
I do agree with Trevor about Martinelli, absolutely keep. But for me, Jesus just has to be a rotation player. He definitely can't play through the middle with Havertz's form. It's just class up top. And then for Zinchenko, I just think, with Timber back fit, I don't see him getting him near the squad. Tomiyasu and Timber, I think, will start over him at left back. So I don't think he'd be too happy with staying on the bench the whole season. So I think it might have to be a sell for Zinchenko.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're probably right. Hus, any other different opinions on that at all?
I think these guys have hit the nail on the head. Martinelli, I love him. His name's on the back of he was the name on the back of my shirt this year. I think he's got brilliant potential. But Jesus, you want him in the team. But I think we all appreciate that he wasn't the main man at City, and it doesn't look like he's going to be the main man at Arsenal. So, but yeah.
Hus, we talk about the Premier League, we talk about the Champions League, the Holy Grails and everything else. The League Cup is a cup that's probably been pushed out and almost forgotten about. And the FA Cup in Arsenal over the last few years, Arteta, although he won it in his first season, doesn't seem like he gave it the same focus as he did the league and the Champions League. I think the draw didn't help us this year because of Liverpool, etc. But how important are the League Cup and the FA Cups to you?
I think I've always been someone, because I've grown up seeing my team do brilliant things. I've always kind of not concentrated on the League Cup. I'll start with that one. But I think looking at clubs who have done really well over periods of time in the past decade or two, they take the League Cup pretty seriously. And the reason they do that is it starts to build a winning mentality. I think we need to be aiming to go as far as we can in all of these cups. The FA Cup I love, right? And that was my daughter's first experience watching Arsenal lift the trophy. And, you know, since then, she's been head over heels in love with the club, right? But with the League Cup in particular, I think we have to show it more. I think we don't show it enough respect, to be fair, whether from a fan base perspective and also from a club perspective with some of the teams that we field. I think these guys have really got to push on and go for it, because there are only 4 trophies we can win a season. Why are we giving away 25% of it by not taking it seriously? It don't make no sense.
Totally. Listen, we got 210 people watching us right now. Quite a lot on both my and Hilsey's Twitter profile. If you'd like to join and have your conversation, have your say, with like what Hus and Fiona are doing, click on gunsandyellowribbons.com/show. We have got space at the minute. Normally what we found with these ones, Trevor, is we get a glut of people right at the end as when I finish up.
So, look, right, if you want to have your say, click on the link and come and join us. As Fergus said, there's loads of people watching. No one waiting to come on at the moment. We've got these 2 fine fellas joined us. But don't come at me next week and say you don't get a chance to have your say. Come on. Come and have a word. You won't get a word in with Fergus, but I'll ask you the questions and do some talking. Listen, right, you boys are saying so many good things tonight, right? And it's just got me thinking, right? It's just got me thinking. Next season, the League Cup, right? We have a run deep into the League Cup. How do you view that? Do you view that as it's possibly weakening us for the rest of the season? Or do you view it as, yeah, this is a great something to build on, you know? Because a lot of clubs are disregarding the League Cup, aren't they? Until it comes to the semi-finals in Wembley, then they pile their teams in, you know? But I'd really like to see us go for all 4 trophies. I'd like to see us just use our squad and play the game, you know? I need to see us win something next season. Do we do it? So what I'm saying really is, do we keep focusing on the Champions League and the Premier League, or do we diversify a bit? Film.
I don't think we put too much into the League Cup. Like, we have to play another game in the Champions League now next season with the new format. So I wouldn't like us to see us push too much onto the League Cup. But the FA Cup, Premier League, and Champions League, I think are must wins for us. I'd love to see us even do a double with the Premier League, the FA Cup, or just even the Premier League. I'd just love to see win a trophy next season, but I don't think the League Cup should be our main priority, in my opinion.
Yeah, I get that, and I'd forgotten about that. The extra game in the Champions League, to be honest with you, Fion. Good point. Huss, what do you reckon, mate?
I agree. I think your main priority has to be the league, Champions League, and the FA Cup. You know, sort of just beneath those 2. But with the League Cup, it's, for me, I think, do you know how I would do it if I was Arteta? I would use the League Cup as a little bit of a squad rotation cup, but to use it to make people hungry. If you've got the right squad and you've got the right rotation available, this is the platform that those players can actually build a name for themselves on and then challenge the likes of our first team players. So I think if we were to do it that way, that works, because the one problem we had, and it showed it on the stat board with like 3 games to go, the top like 7 playing players in the league this season were all Arsenal players. We didn't have any squad rotation, you know. So that's another thing to kind of have in consideration there. But I want to see us win everything. That's the truth. I think we should challenge for every title that we have the opportunity to challenge for. But yeah, we need a little bit of luck as well with draws, because this year the draws were just crazy.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of luck, did we? Go on, folk.
Hus, at the moment, Chelsea, Man United, and everything else, they talk about that they're looking for Spurs and other teams. They talk about they're looking for a clear identity. It's got an Arsenal way of playing football, a Man United way of playing football. But has Arteta recovered that in the last 4.5 seasons? And has your expectations? This is interesting, actually. Has your expectations changed about Arteta? I'm doing this to you each time, aren't I? From when he first signed in December 2019 to now. Sorry, mate.
That's a good question, man. And I'm one to put my hands up when I'm not there. Let's look back at that period of time when Arteta came to the club. Ancelotti was available, right? As well as various other managers that were flirting with different clubs. When I heard we'd got Arteta, I thought to myself, okay, you were a decent footballer for us. You were a captain. My level of expectation of Arteta was down here, because at that time, the club just simply weren't challenging. I didn't feel that he was the right person to come in to do that job. So I did judge a book by its cover. Fast forward to 2024, I don't want anyone else managing my club. I think what he's done for this club and the way he's done it, that's the important part. We haven't had to beg, steal, or borrow. He's done it in a way that is very much the Arsenal way. It's classy. We haven't cheated. We haven't done it the wrong way. He's nurtured and brought players through. He's made the right acquisitions when he needs to. And he's changed the club culture. That's a very important thing. He's changed the club culture for the better. And it's little things. North London forever, pre-match. Yeah, that might not seem like a big thing, right? But believe me, every week on Instagram, that's on my story. Me and the boys getting together, letting that off, because that's huge from a mentality perspective. I've got mates who sit in the away end when they come to play against us, and they're like, do you know what? You can feel that around the stadium, right? It's huge, right? For me, the only thing he hasn't done yet is take us back to the pinnacle, which is those big trophies, the Premier League, our first Champions League. But do I believe he's the right man for the job? Yes. And I truly, hand on heart, I think this is the man that's going to do it for us. And I think we're going to do it in somewhat of a marvelous fashion.
Hus, you've been fantastic. We have a couple of other people waiting in the background. I really, really thank you for your input, your hats.
Nice.
And everything else, mate. Take care. We'll bring in Albert in a minute, but Fiona, I'll put that same question to you. Has your expectations of Arteta changed since he first got signed in 2019?
Thanks, Hus. I'm really pleased that Fergus gave me the chance to thank you. It was lovely talking to you, mate. Lovely talking to you, Hus. I thought you made some really great points, mate. I was going to come back to you on a couple of your points, but Fergus just cut me off and off you went without me even saying thank you. So goodbye, Hus. Nice talking to you. See you next season at the Emirates, mate. Right, Fergus, back to you.
I'll leave it to you, all right?
Should I drop the mic yet?
Yeah, you can drop the mic.
Oh, love you.
Go on then, Fionn. What has your expectations changed on Arteta since December 2019?
I think Huss hit the nail on the head completely. Everything he said was just spot on. But what I'd love to just add on to it is that if you look at Chelsea, they're trying to copy Arteta. It's come out in reports now that they want to copy his style of how he's changed the whole club. I think there was something about the whole manager position. You have to be able to challenge Arteta and Pep. Like he's turned the club from just a wasteland where people careers went to die to everyone wants to play for Arsenal now. I absolutely love what he's done. But when he first came, I can't lie, I wasn't hopeful at all. I just was not. But now I wouldn't rather anyone else be managing the Arsenal.
Well, Fionn, I hope we get to see you back over next season. Don't worry, Trevor. I'll let you say something in a second. I've learnt my mistake once. I won't do it again. Taxi service and hotels all arranged as always. Trevor, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Fionn. Thank you, mate, for coming on and making your points. So you said some really interesting stuff. Before we bring Albert in, I just want, and Albert, you can pick up on this if you want. I find Arteta joining the club was very interesting for me because it wasn't my choice, but I was prepared to back him, and I was prepared to back him for two reasons in the main. Firstly, he'd had the best tutor you could possibly have for a few years, right? He was working for Pep for a few years. I don't think there's anyone better to work for. And secondly, I still have every sympathy for Unai Emery. I think that Unai Emery was ousted by the players not wanting to play for him. That's my opinion, you know. And we were in a real mess, a real mess, as is shown by the amount of players that Arteta has moved on without second thought, you know. So they were the two reasons I was prepared to give Arteta time. And hey, mate, thank God we did, eh? What a time we're having now.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, man, because even from doing, you know, the podcasting and sort of being on the socials for the last 4 years, I'd say, because I think this was technically Arteta's third full season, wasn't it? Really, essentially, full season, yeah. So it's funny because a lot of fans, some of the fans I speak to, wanted him in the first time before Emery. You got some that were dead against it. I obviously had my concerns, not just him coming here, but obviously I get it. He's worked under Pep. There's a lot of guys I've worked under great managers, by the way, in terms of Pep, and even I've forgot the other guy's name, Mourinho. But it's a case of it was his first job, and there's not too many big football clubs, if they've ever done that, really. If you go through the history, I'm not a United fan or a Liverpool fan, but I don't think that's probably happened. Debuting your first job at the club.
I suppose, well, not even Solskjaer didn't. He had Cardiff for a short while and then went over to Norway. Fionn, I'm going to let you go and bring in Lyle.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Fionn. All the best, mate. Well, I nearly got a goodbye in Fionn. Sorry.
You nearly did. Well, you had a bloody chance, but you waffled on, and then you brought in Albert, asked Albert a question, and then you didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to him. There we go. Albert, carry on. Sorry.
Listen, sorry, Albert. I'm missing football enough, right? I'm missing the trips away. And then he comes up with that flag behind him. Lyle, what are you doing to me, man? What are you doing?
How you doing, Trev? Do you know what? I thought I'd get it out just for you, mate. One last time this season. Brilliant to see you, mate. You're good.
And the flag.
And you. Anyway, listen, boys, we've been rude. Albert, what were you saying, mate, before Fergus rudely cut you off, mate?
I know Fergus is terrible, but I love you guys, man. But no, yeah, listen, I had my concerns because obviously in my time watching football, just generally speaking, I'd never seen a club give a job to a guy that's never managed before. It's a huge risk. It's a massive risk. But you know, the Cronkies and Edu, obviously, when he came in, I've obviously seen something in him. I think you look at it now, it was inevitable he was going to struggle for a number of different reasons. We had Wenger for a very, very long time. Emery wasn't here for that long a time. And obviously, Arteta's come in. So there was always going to be bumps in the road. So a bike just went flying down the road about 40 miles an hour. But sorry, yeah, a bit distracted. But listen, we got the FA Cup, obviously, during the season, during COVID. That galvanized, obviously, some of the fans, and winning silver is hugely important, which we'll touch on a bit more. But I think it's interesting because even some of the guys I bump into, particularly after the game, I would say, when we go into the Emirates, where they were very, very staunch Arteta. But even with some of them now, they're like, you know what? Fair play. We can see what he's doing. He's got the backing rightfully of the board. Even if they still don't universally love him, which is not really that big a problem, they can see what he's doing and they're like, you know what, he deserves a season or he deserves a contract extension. So I think that's a big shift change with some of the sections of the fans. You got some that for whatever reason won't change their mind about him, but I think for the ones that have gone from not wanting him at the club, not necessarily when he first joined, but even the first 18 months, 2 years in, were kind of I don't see where
post-COVID,
Yeah.
he was quite lucky that he was behind closed doors for a period of time, because the toxicity within the stadium was already there, and it carried on even when Emery took over. And I don't know if we'd still have Mikel Arteta if COVID didn't happen and behind closed doors. You mentioned the Cronkies, actually. A question to you, which I haven't got written on my list. The ESL protests happened outside the Emirates Stadium. I was on a meeting with Stan and with the other Arsenal Forum members.
And Kevin Wilder.
No, he wasn't on that one. It's Arsenal, mate. Has your view changed on the Cronkies? And do you believe that the Cronkies, or KSE, headed up by Josh, in my view, are now actually fully committed to Arsenal and the project that Arteta and co are trying to do?
It's a great question. I think, you know what it is, Fergus, for me. It's not, to me, it's not even about whether you like them or don't like them. I think it comes down to the fact of they're given the manager the backing that they needed to get, whether it be financially or I don't know how many times they speak to him a week, Fergus. We're not privy to having conversations, but I think with the trajectory of where the club is going, the heat is naturally going to come off them anyway. So, and even more so with obviously what we've had the last couple of years, because you've got to remember as well, even before the whole ESL thing and whatever you think of the Cronkies, as a football club, and I don't know how you guys felt sort of going to the games, I didn't particularly really enjoy it, if I'm going to be honest with you. And I think it's quite difficult for me personally. I don't know how you guys feel when people watching this back or watching it now. I didn't really like the team very much, if I'm going to be honest. It just wasn't really.
When did that change? When did that change?
I think it's a good question, Freddie. I just think now being out of the doldrums and not competing was an issue with a lot of Arsenal fans, but we're not having those conversations anymore because we're back where we want to be in terms of competing. And once you do that, Fergus, if it doesn't change the mindset as an Arsenal fan, when will it? And you got to remember who you're up against as well. And that's the thing. And I think I don't want to say too much more because you probably want to bring Lyle in as well. But I think for me personally, if I'm talking about myself, I think it's the fact that we're competing again, Fergus. That's the most important thing. You know, we are a big football club. We've been lucky enough. I'm old enough to remember us, you know, having some really, really good times as Arsenal fans. But that's not been the case for a number of years, whether that's been not seeing the top level European football at the club for the last 7 or so years. Yes, we've had FA Cup success in between that in the last 10 or 15 years or so. But if you look at the sort of the Premier League side of it, going for league titles, competing, that was not a conversation many of us fans were having for a number of years. But that mentality has been shifted, and that's because of the manager, and obviously the Cronkies have backed him as well. So that's where I kind of sit on it.
One final question. You said the FA Cups, and we have had some FA Cups in that period of time. For many teams, if you think many teams within the league, if they won an FA Cup or a League Cup or a European Conference League Cup, they're over the moon. You know, they get one trophy a decade or one trophy every 2 decades. In your view, the quality and the level that Arsenal Football Club are at, the Arsenal winning FA Cups is not enough. Is that your view?
No, it's not my view, because I love the FA Cup as much as I think Huss touched on it before he came off. And one thing I do want to see us do a bit more better, Fergus, is my one bugbear is, I know we won it in 2019, but if you actually look at our domestic cup record, it's not great. And when you look at the likes of City and Liverpool and Chelsea, they've taken this competition very seriously in the last 10 or 15 years. Very, very seriously. They don't underplay it. It's something, I think that's a section of sort of our fans' mindset that they kind of poo-poo the domestic cups. And I've never really got that, because as mentioned before, and it's very, very important for this group of players, that we're at a stage now where, as much as the progress has been made, it's about making that step to success. and not just in terms of the manager and having something fantastic on his CV and something that he can work with. It's for the group of players that we currently have now for the last couple of years to get that winning feeling and winning mentality that they can get over the line. That's the one missing thing still. And the question's always going to be asked, whether it's us doing the podcast now or on certain radio stations or whatever channels there are. The question's always going to be asked, can Mikel get us over the line in terms of winning trophies on a consistent basis?
Lyle, welcome to the show. Albert has come out with some really, really good comments on there. I'll probably flip the same question over to you again about the Cronkies and KSC, because you were there with Trevor and others on the day where we stood up to the ESL, we stood up to the media companies trying to take over football, which we weren't going to have. But do you think the Cronkies have actually put the money where the mouth is and they actually are backing Arteta? And where, how much more can they do?
Yeah, look, always a pleasure to be back on, lads. Look, I think when it comes to the Cronkies, we didn't want them at the club, right? He goes, go back to the Black Scarf movement. Do you remember in the early 2010s, marched on the stadium, we want our Arsenal back, kick the greed out of football, all of that sort of stuff. So there's been a checkered history with the Arsenal fans and the Cronkies. And I think up until that protest, the verdict was out. And I think, to be brutally honest with you, you would have struggled to find an Arsenal fan who wanted them in. I think post the sort of Super League, you've got to say that they've done everything right. They backed Arteta. They could have easily sacked him during COVID. If you'd done a survey amongst most of the fans, especially certain fan groups who I don't want to name, they would have had him out on the first train. So I think they backed the manager. We've spent big the last 3 seasons. We've done some very uncharacteristic signings. People like Declan Rice, for example, putting the money up front, £105 million. They've done everything right, really, that you can ask them to do. There are some other problems at the club, around ticketing and sort of the more operational and logistics sort of sides of things. But I don't think that's got anything to do with the Cronkies. That's the stadium management. No. So personally, I think you've got to say post-COVID, job well done to the Cronkies. We can't really ask for anything more.
Trevor?
Yeah, I agree. That the ESL demonstrations, for me, it was, we were there because they were talking about bringing in this ESL, but it was more about demonstrating against the Cronkies. Absolutely demonstrating against the Cronkies. And I think that after the second or third one, Josh must have got on the phone to his dad and said, "Dad, look, we either got to put up here or shut up, because these fans mean business. These fans are here in their thousands." And in fairness, as Lyle just said, they've put up. I can't find fault in them since that time. They've made some promises and they've kept them. And I'm very happy with that. I just want to ask these two boys. Now, these two boys know their football, right? Well, firstly, we just spoke about the fans and the real fans, right? And there is a difference between fans and fans who have got it in their blood and fans who go to see a winning team. Because you go back a few years and we'd go to some games and there'd be 5,000 or 10,000 empty seats at the Emirates. Yeah, it was down as a sellout because they'd sold all the season tickets. But then people didn't go. They didn't go. And then suddenly when we're winning, whoosh, tickets are like gold dust. And I feel really sorry for some of the people that are missing out on tickets. But the point, I want to ask these boys a question, right? Man City, right? They've got all these charges hanging over them, but they've been hanging over them for years, and it looks like they're going to be hanging over them for some time yet, right? So are Arsenal and other clubs now thinking Man City have found this model that wins Premier Leagues? They've found this model that wins Premier Leagues, whether we like it or whether we don't. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, we don't know. But it don't look like the powers that be are going to get stuck into them. So our teams like Arsenal and others now thinking, we've got to do the same. We've got to join them. We've got to go down the road of doing what they do to try and catch up with them. What do you think, Albert? What do you think?
Oh dear, it's the elephant in the room, isn't it? With the Man City thing. You know what it is? It's, I think where this the profit sustainability is coming, and
PSR stops all that.
Yeah. Which is a good thing, by the way. But it'd be interesting to see what happens with City. I'm going to be honest with you, but Trev, to slightly go away from that. I find it interesting. I don't know how you guys feel. I find it interesting with some of our fans in terms of regards to Arteta getting over the line, and I think and I say to myself, look, you can't know when you're born as a football fan, but I look at Manchester United, for example, and I've made this point before. You know, before they won the first Premier League in 92-93, they hadn't won a league title for 23 years. Liverpool, before the COVID season, hadn't won a league title for 30 years. That's even before the Premier League started. And obviously Arsenal were 20 plus years in. So whether Arsenal fans like it or not, it's hard to win a league title, even though we've seen them do it. So I think that's the bit of context. But yeah, City, I don't know how they've done it, man. I really, really don't. How they've got away with it. But you know what? I guess time to ask for Trevor. I guess time will tell to see what happens, because this really should have been not done and dusted, but it really should have got to a point where the season's already done. Now we're going into an Euros, a Copa America, and Olympics, and we're still talking about the same thing. Like, this is insane. Like I don't know what. It weren't no coincidence that Richard Master decided to come to our game at the end of the season, but wasn't it at the Etihad, which for obvious reasons I can understand why he didn't go there. But yeah, I'm sick of hearing about it. I just want to see what the outcome's going to be, because the likes of Forest and Everton had a lot of heat on them this season. And to put it politely, City haven't. I get it; it's 115 charges, but which I don't know which every single one is, by the way. But I'm sure there's about 10 or so charges within them 115 where City are looking over their shoulders, and I think they're going to be in big trouble, personally.
Yeah, well, do you know, you make a couple more interesting points there. The one thing I can't work out is how Forest and Everton were put away so quickly, and Man City have got all these charges.
The reason being, Trevor, is it's for different reasons. Forest and Everton are purely financial and breaking financial rules. Man City, they've got a lot of other things as well. We have got a couple of other people queued in the background, so if you just want to...
All right, I'll just finish off now before we go to Law, right? Because the problem must lay with whoever's laid the charges in the Premier League or the FA, whoever's laid the charges at Man City's doorstep. They can't be confident that they are going to be proven, because otherwise that would have been sorted by now. Yeah. There's something going on that worries me greatly in football, because the money's got to stop at some time. Lyle, just before you come in, we'll have to change the subject, mate, because otherwise we'll be stuck on that crap all night.
I was going to ask Albert. I was going to ask Albert before he went. Your favourite game of the season and why?
Oh dear, flipping hell.
On the spot.
Yeah, that's right. No, mine's quite. I'm going to cheat, Fergus. I'm going to say two quickly. First, beating Man City, because they beat us 12 straight in a row. But secondly, for me, and I've always had this thing, there's something about beating Liverpool. There's something about somebody.
That was my birthday as well. It was my birthday as well.
Yeah, there's something about something about some of their fans that really rile me. So yeah, beating them at the Emirates was really, really sweet, man, to be honest.
Albert, I'm going to let you go because we got a couple lined up coming in. But thank you very much for joining the show. Tell everyone where they can find you, because you have your own podcast as well, don't you?
No, I do, Ferg. Still running, mate. Still running. Thanks for the plug. Yeah,
and you're on Sky Sports, and you're on BT Sports, and you're on. He's everywhere.
Yeah, Ferg, you've done me in a good way. You could have said something a lot worse, but I'll let you on. No, thank you, man. I appreciate the support. Yeah, Albert JTV. You see me here, there, and everywhere doing Euros content, Arsenal content, and some ladies content when I can squeeze it in between actually having my proper job as well. So it's difficult, but thank you, Fergus and Trev.
Cheers, Albert. You take care.
See you later. See you, Albert.
Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot, mate. And I'm glad we had our chat the other day. You remember? Love you, mate.
Yeah, Trev. Love always, mate. Don't worry about that, man.
Yeah. All right, mate. You take care, pal.
Trev, if it's all right, mate, I just wanted to come back on that point about the sort of the trophies and where the club is. I wanted to let Albert speak, because I think he's very analytical. He's got that real sort of analytical way which he sort of can digest things. As I'm sort of more of a, I'm not going to say hooligan who's on the terrace, but I can't sum things up as elegantly as he can. But
you do all right. You do all right.
On the whole sort of thing about trophies and all of that sort of thing. I think for me it's actually a bit irrelevant, right? In some contexts, because what Trev was trying to say, and for me is really important, is we've got our Arsenal back, right? We were going games up and down the country, overseas, and that team didn't represent us, right? And as a football fan, there is no God-given right to win trophies. You look at this country up and down the 4 divisions, yeah? People go week in, week out. They follow their team over land and sea, and some of them will never, ever see their team win anything in their lifetime, right? And what you want is you want to be proud of your team. You want to be proud of the 11 men who are, fielding the team every week. You want to be proud of the manager. You want to be proud of the club, the structure from top to bottom, the ownership, right? And at the Arsenal, for a long time, we just didn't have that. And for me, the trophies is actually a secondary point. I'm proud to say I'm an Arsenal fan again. I'm proud to say, that team represents me. I'm proud to go to that stadium. I'm proud to go away. Doesn't matter if we get beat. I know that the 11 out there have given it 100%. I know the 11 out there know what that football club means to us. And for a long time, I felt we loved the club, but the club didn't love us. And that's back now. And that's the foundation you need. If we win trophies from here, fantastic. But I think loving your football club, that connection between the fan base, the players, the managers, the ownership, you need to have that. Whether you win trophies or not is irrelevant, because that's not why we go to football. If it was all about the trophies, you'd have been a Man City or a Chelsea fan for the last 20 years. We do it because we love our football club and we've got the love back again. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's why I got the flag made up. I was so disappointed last season, the comments from certain fans towards the end of the year, going in on the manager, going in on the players. I thought it was bullshit, frankly. I think it's one of the most disgraceful things I've seen at the Arsenal in my time going to Arsenal, going to games for, 25 odd years, is the way they slated the manager at the end of last season. It's just so bang out of order. From where we were to where we are now, the love, the connection, everything. That's why we got the flag made up, and we wanted to fly the flag to let the manager know we're behind him. We're so grateful. And I think that's the word you've got to use, grateful for what he's done to bring the Arsenal back. And it's an absolute joy now going to games. And I think we will get the success because the foundations are right. You can't get the success without that. And it has to be said. And a lot of people don't want to say it because, they're so concerned about, we've got to win the league title, the FA Cup, the European Cup. If you haven't got the foundations, just go, I don't want to be a Chelsea. Look at Chelsea. Look what they've won over the last 10, 15 years. Would you want to be Chelsea? Would you? I mean, no, you don't. We're the Arsenal. We're a classy club. We're better than that.
Do you know what? I love that. I love
Trevor, that mic that you want to drop, I think he's just dropped it.
Yeah, wonderful. I love it. I love it, Lyle. And the bit where we've always loved the club, but there was a time when the club didn't love us or the players didn't love us. Absolutely. How many times did you, me, jump on a train to go up north or fly on a plane to go over and watch a European game? And you're thinking, I'm going because I'm an Arsenal fan, nothing else. But now when you go full of expectation, you go full of hope. You're full of it. You're full of the Arsenal, and them players and that manager are full of us, and it's wonderful. In all my years of watching the Arsenal, I love where we are now. And as for Arteta, absolutely right about he didn't win anything last season. But look what he had to do. It wasn't just players he had to change. He had to change a whole club structure. He had to go from top to bottom and change it all. And for a first-time manager, what a job he's done, mate. Brilliant. Brilliant. I love the way you put that role. Love it.
Lyle, you summed up exactly how I feel, why I feel about going to football and how I feel about us lot that we get together down wherever it be, over land and sea, as it says. Very last word, because we got 735 people watching right now.
Good. I need to dip off anyway, otherwise the missus will kill me.
Just give me your favourite game of the season: domestic, home, domestic, away, and domestic Europe.
I'm going to tell you why this game is my favourite game of the season, and it's sort of so deep, right? My favourite game of the season was Man United away, winning 1-0, because anyone who knows we've not won there in the league with fans for 18 years. 18 years. And in that time, we've experienced so much pain. I can't even go into the pain we've experienced over that time. Being knocked out of the Champions League semi-final, the 8-2, the Van Persie obviously going up there, all sorts of nonsense, yeah. And to go up there for me, win 1-0 the way we won it so comfortably is the start of a new era of us going to the Northwest now. We've shown this season, we won at Old Trafford, we went to the Etihad and stood our ground, we went to the Anfield and stood our ground 2 seasons in a row. We don't fear anyone anymore. We're the Arsenal. For me, Old Trafford, Hoodoo's gone. We're the Arsenal now. We're back. Old Trafford away was brilliant, and we stayed, Fergus. That was the best away end all year. But we stayed for
Trevor
45 minutes afterwards.
Well, you had no
singing.
choice. You're going to get soaked otherwise.
No, but forget that. We missed trains. People miss trains going back. We stayed for 45 minutes singing for the team, and Old Trafford was special. And I think, like I said, that signifies the new era. We're back. We're just going to go onwards and upwards, mate.
Domestic in Europe, briefly.
Europe, mate. You cannot go past. We didn't get the result, but Porto the night before the game, you had to be there.
You fall in love.
I've never.
I know you will. Another six is the king of Brazil.
That
I've
train
never seen
to the
anything like
stadium.
it.
That train to the stadium. I don't know where it stayed on the rails. I don't. It was rocking.
The faces of those people as we came, as the Arsenal came to that train, they looked and went, "Holy fuck!"
Do you know what? I've never seen anything like it, because usually when we go abroad, it's like you have a few drinks, you have a little bit of a sing song, all of that. But we completely took it over the night before the game, and it was mental. It started at about 7 p.m. and it didn't stop until we all left 2 days later.
Yeah, I know. Look, listen, we got Kevin in the Demsec in the background as well, so we're going to bring him in. Lyle, thank you very much, Trevor. Do you want to say goodbye? And all the formalities?
Cheers, Lyle.
Do you know what? We're all going to catch up in the summer. It's all right. Don't stress about it. We'll have a summer social. So it's not a goodbye. It's just to see you in July.
Yeah,
see you in July.
Perfect. Cheers, mate.
Welcome, Theo. Welcome, Andrew. How are you? And welcome, Demsec. Kevin, how are you? How are you all?
All good, mate. All good.
Theo. We should. Look, you won't know it.
I'm
Theo,
sure I got some crisps around here somewhere, Theo.
We should sing that on the stands, Theo. We should sing that because our assistant manager used to be a bloke called Theo Foley. Passed away now, God bless him. But we should sing Theo in the stands. What are you holding your nose for? Is that to say can't smell the crisps?
Right, let's move a swiftly. Theo, you have been an active member on the North Bank. Here you are with Capo Dan and Capo Theo and Fat Bloke. Me on Block 5. How good has it been? How have you enjoyed it? And what is it like going back to school on a Monday morning to say you've been in the middle of that when it's all on Instagram and TikTok?
I mean, it's like really like to go into the game tonight, to go in the middle and whatnot, start chants and sing along. It's a different experience.
But you end up in the middle anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's fun. Just walk in and then to go to school the next day, tiring. But then to say to everyone that I've been to the game, they don't believe me most of the time because of how many I've been to. Yeah. So then I just have to show them a load of stuff about it. And then they all get jealous. So.
If I was asked you, Theo, then I'll come to your dad. With Eddie, Nelson, and Smith Rowe, who would you keep, sell, or nurture? And if I have to explain that, I know you're a young lad, so let me know.
Oh my God, you're hard work sometimes, Fergus. You really are. Theo, who do you want to keep and who do you want to sell, son?
Sell Nelson. Keep Smith Rowe.
What about Zinchenko? I'll tell you what, Theo, if your dad keeps waving that camera about like that, I'm going to be seasick in a minute.
Sorry, Trev.
and Andrew, come in on that one then. So if you're looking at Eddie, Nelson, and Smith Rowe, who would you keep, sell, and nurture? Or would you sell all three? Would you keep all three? Would you nurture all three?
No, I keep Smith Rowe for definite. I think Smith Rowe's got a lot to offer. If we can get him, I'd love to see him stay. And I think he'd be like a complete new signing for us next season. I think Eddie, I'm going to, I think someone's going to agree with me on here. I think Eddie's got to go. I think, unfortunately, I think we've done this dance with him before, and I think it's time for him to maybe move on. I think he's been a cracking servant for the club, but time now for him to get for himself as well, to go and play some games somewhere and get some game time. And Reece Nelson, can we nurture him? Is there something that we can do to bring him on a little bit more? Is he, he's come on, he's not disappointed us. All right, he's got his champagne moment when he scored the screamer against Bournemouth, but he's still got something to offer for me as well. But for me, nurture Nelson, sell Nketiah, keep Smith Rowe.
Keith, we got you also. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining in. If anybody else wants to join in, it's gunsandyellowribbons.com/show. It's really easy. Nearly 1,000 people watching us right now. So it would be really, really, don't get shy, Theo. Don't get shy. It would be really good if some others joined. Demsek, Keith, what's your thoughts on those three players? Keep, sell or nurture, Eddie, Nelson or Smith Rowe?
It's Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah, that's what it says on the screen.
I wasn't going to tell him.
Oh, mate, you know what? When I put that up there, I can't see it. I couldn't see it. I was looking at my notes. Listen,
it's the beer still from Sheffield.
You've been watching this long enough to know that I cock up every week.
Kev, how are you, mate, by the way?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Wouldn't mind, it's my middle name.
Right. Trev, your wife put some lovely photographs up on Facebook.
Who is he?
Just looked like you had an absolutely beautiful day 10 years ago.
Yeah, we did, mate. We've had a lovely...
I know it's not football, but...
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have my wife, mate, in a lot of ways. Trust me, I'm very lucky to have her. And I don't mind saying it. I love her more every day, mate. She's my angel.
Lovely.
And I just wish I'd aged as well as she has, mate, to be honest. But...
Trev, I showed that picture to Theo earlier on and he asked me who it was.
Yeah.
You got a bit... What did you think I was her dad, Theo? Did you? Be careful, Theo. Be careful.
Matchstick maker. Back to your question, Fergus. I think I'd probably keep ESR, and then the other two can go.
Okay,
that one.
Yeah, that one.
Let me come in here. Let me come in here, mate, because you could. None of these other three lads can't see it, but I'm humbled because we've just broken the record for viewers for this show. We're well over 1,000 people watching us now. I'm truly humbled. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. And it's all really down to Fergus's great work. So well done, Ferg. Well done, mate. Is your name Ferg? I can't remember now. Is it Ferg?
Middle name's Kevin. I should remember that. I'm not Keith.
Look who's coming before you move on. Look who's coming in the comments.
I thought they were asleep out in Cyprus by now. It's later, isn't it? I thought we avoided them. Kevin, Thomas Partey. What do you do with a case like Thomas Partey?
I think he's got to go. We get try and get a top class 6. I think you posted it, but I think I'd been saying we've got problems in midfield to friends for some time. And at 4-4-2 did that piece which showed the games that we lost was when Rice had moved to 6 and Havertz had dropped back to 8. And when Arteta brought, I'm going to call him J2R and as Jorginho, into that 6th position, it all changed because he, like Partey, can make those cutting forward passes. So I think it's time for Partey to move on, and let's try and get a player of a similar ilk, but not as old as Jorginho.
Kevin, is Rice then, because for West Ham he played that 6 role, for us he seems to play that 8 role. Where do you see his best position, a 6 or an 8?
8. I mean, he wanted to play 8 at West Ham. He said that at the end of the Everton game, I think it was. And Moyes wouldn't give him a chance. But in a better team, with better players playing a different system, he's better at 8 than a 6. In fact, he's a bit like a box-to-box player because he's defensively aware as well. So for me, we need to get a 6.
Fair enough.
Okay, go on, Trev.
No, it's fair enough. My head's a bit of a shed with Thomas Partey because we all know he's a real high quality player. But I don't think he's given us the hours we needed this season. I wanted to see him play more. He's been prone to injury, and he is getting on a bit. But what I don't want to see is I don't want to see us get rid of or let Partey move on and us not get a very reliable replacement, because Thomas Partey will be a massive loss, as Kev just rightly said. When Partey plays deeper and Rice plays that bit further forward, and then we've got Havertz through the middle up front, I think that's when we've looked at our best this season. I think that's when we've looked at our very best. So, yeah, Partey moves on, all the best to him, but I do worry that are we going to find someone of that caliber to replace him? But having said that, and contradicting myself slightly, I still remember what Arteta said a couple of seasons ago, and it's very important. Arteta said, I will never, ever sign anyone just for the sake of signing them. I'll always sign someone that improves our club. And it's very important that we remember that. So if Partey stays or Partey goes, I don't mind. But I think Arteta will want to fill that hole first.
The flip side to that also, and that fans need to realise and think of, Partey's in his final 12 months. So that might mean he goes on a free. So that's the balance that Edu and Arteta have got to make. Do we keep Partey and he plays, I don't know, 15 let's say he plays 15 games. Hopefully he'd play all 38, in the league.
Yeah.
The cost of that over the 12 months.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Sorry, Ferg, I'm just coming back on that because I've got the comments here. He's 72 Premier League appearances in 4 years, Mark says, is shocking. Yeah, we wish we'd got more out of him. But Mark's next comment, which I'm going to put on the screen now, I'd be interested to get all of you four boys' views on this, because it's a massive comment. What do you Oh, not that one. That one.
No.
I think beef isn't an option for Theo.
Daniel Gunning has stitched me right up there, right up there.
Whatever that means. Okay, you can have that one later, Ferg.
If Partey had played every game, would we have won the Premier League, Ferg?
We might have done this year. Sorry, Ferg.
Yeah, no, I think we definitely would have been challenging further. I think the first half of this year we're a little bit inconsistent, and Jorginho wasn't quite on form, and we're trying to find out how to play Havertz, how to play Rice correctly and all together. I think if we had a settled Partey, then we could have easily just dropped in Declan Rice into an 8 or Havertz into an 8, and then bought a striker. If we had a settled a settled Partey, would we have Havertz or would we have Rice?
What we must all remember as well, right, is that, and I've got to say, Jorginho hasn't let us down, in my view. He hasn't let us down. He's come in, he's done well. Ferg, I'm whispering, right? Ferg, where have you gone? Can you hear me, Ferg?
I'm here. I got my earphones in.
I'm whispering. Jamie O'Hara's in the green room. We've got Jamie O'Hara in the green room, mate, waiting. Have you seen? Yeah. Listen, Kev, come back to us on that, mate. What do you think? Would we win the league if we had Partey?
No, we might have done this season, and it's very valid. Would we have Havertz? Would we have Rice? I think we probably would have Rice. Would we have bought Havertz? I don't know. But last season, it wasn't just Partey. The final, I think it was like 10 games of the season. We lost Partey, we lost Saliba, we lost White, we lost Kieran Tierney, we lost Tomiyasu, all in those games at various different times for different lengths. KT, I think, was all of them. Partey was pretty much all of them. So we didn't have the squad last season.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
that one, I think you have to just say that's a goner. Having Partey this season is a maybe, but like you've highlighted, would we have had the other players?
Yeah, Andrew, what do you think?
I think he's been too inconsistent for me. I think I can always remember sort of the games at the start when he was playing, and you were like waiting for him to do something, and he just tends to have this tendency to drift out of the game and just didn't seem to be as we wanted him to be. We all remember the 30-yard screamer against Spurs a couple of years ago, where he bent it so far around the post, it was just insane. And I think that's the kind of the play we want to see. And he's just, for me, we saw glimpses of it towards the end of this season, where he's linked up really so well with with Rice and Odegaard in the middle, and that's the way I'd want him to be. But I just can't see him staying to that performance for the whole for the full season.
Yeah, if only he did. But I mean, last season for me, Saliba was the key. Last season, I just
100%.
You know,
Losing
Saliba
The loss of Saliba was huge. Theo, final question for you guys. Your player of the season and why? Actually, 2 questions, and you can decide who answers which. Player of the season and the game you enjoyed going to most this season. So, Theo, you call it.
You do the first one then. Go on, player of the season.
It's
on the back of your shirt, mate.
I think it's either between Saliba, Gabriel, or Rice. I think Gabriel and Saliba have been solid at the back with each other and making those tackles to stop that Haaland scoring, other players scoring. But then you have Rice, who came in and just scored and assists, and he's got so many assists and goals since he's came in. And then his tackle, last ditch defending skills as well with Rice. I think he's up and down the pitch. So I think overall, I think it's got to be Rice.
Andrew, briefly, one word on player and the game you enjoyed the most.
I'm going to go Declan Rice as well. I think he's been the player that's turned us into where we are now, and I think he's going to push us on even further.
Okay. Lads,
game of the season, mate. It's got to be your birthday, but I cannot remember what game it was. I was that hammered. Was it Liverpool? I had Man City around me, but yeah, Liverpool. I can't honestly.
I wasn't too drunk. I wasn't too drunk.
That's the one where I had to ring on the way home saying if I'm not on that train station where I'm in Edinburgh, because I just cannot remember getting home that night. That was one hell of a game. That was brilliant.
It was. Andrew, Theo, thank you very much. Stick with the bacon fries for now. Scampi fries when you get older. Thank you very much. Trevor, do you want to say goodbye? Because I know you get very sensitive about these sort of things.
Theo, see you next season, mate. Looking forward to seeing you at loads of games next season. Andrew, congratulations on your purchase this week, mate. Really,
thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, welcome to the season ticket club.
Say no more than that. And see you. Well, I think we're going to have a little bit of a summer do, so we'll keep you in a link, mate.
Yeah, definitely do. That'd be awesome to catch up with everybody and have a few beers. And I'm sure there'll be a sing-song along the way and a few sore heads in the morning.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. Kev, who's your player of the season, mate?
I'm going to go controversial here. Our top non-penalty scoring player, Kai Havertz, came in with totally no expectation. If anything, the fans were against him. And if you take out Saka's penalties, he's actually scored more goals and been involved in more goals than Saka. And that's for a player that wasn't rated. So I think I'm going to go for the underdog and go for Kai.
I can't argue that, Ferg. Can you, mate? I just cannot argue. And do you know what I like about Havertz? Havertz has left me wanting to see more of him next season. I can't wait to see Havertz back on the field because for me, he's improved game by game. It's been that good, his improvement and his confidence. And you can see he weren't in a good place. He didn't appear to be early in the season. As the season's gone on, Odegaard, superb bit of captaincy, add a word with Saka, take the penalty at Bournemouth. Kai Havertz scores again, goes on for half an hour in the stands. He can hear that. Havertz can hear that. This is where the fans do their work in lifting players. It's a two-way thing. And he's not looked back, has he? Yeah, I can't argue with your choice, mate, to be honest.
No, I can. For me, Kai Havertz does get a mention in dispatches, as does Saliba, as does Gabriel, as does Raya and Ramsdale for his brief spell. But for me, the Rice gets in there as well. For me, the guy who makes it all tick and gels it all together is our captain, Martin Odegaard. Excuse me. He has just been sublime. He's remained fit, calm, collective, and he's just been outstanding this season. And surrounded by better players than Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, it's brought out the best in him totally. Dale, welcome. I'm going to talk to you in a second. Kevin, before we let you go, what I would like to ask you is next season, predicts who you think champions would be. I think we all go with that, the same one. Who you think will get promoted, if you can think of who's in the championship, who will get relegated, and probably the more interesting one is who you think the dark horse is going to be in the league.
Right. So just to wind Trev up, right? Dark horse Tottenham.
I've got to go on mute here.
Fire in the hole!
I didn't say which way though. No, I think we've got a really good chance of winning the league next season. You can't deny that Chelsea could be a dark horse.
You're not the first person that said that tonight, mate, to be honest.
They seem to be gelling. And it depends on what Manchester United do. Because strangely enough, when they haven't got Rashford and haven't got Fernandes, whether it's because we dropped our game or not, they looked a better team. So potentially United, depending on what they do as well in the summer. I can see those that were promoted getting relegated again. It's really tough down the bottom there. I was hoping Everton, but Dyche seems to have done a really good job there, even with like 8 points taken off of them. They finished outside the relegation zone. So coming up, a bit like Trev, I wouldn't mind Stoke City. They're not far down the road from me. And I thought you'd do that, Trev. That ground's so cold.
Cold in more ways than one, mate, I tell you.
And I wouldn't mind seeing Leeds come up.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for Leeds.
Yeah.
Leeds, yeah. Mate, so when are we going to see you next season? Are you going to be down at the Emirates for the start of the season, mate?
Well, hopefully I'll get a ticket because I'm not a season ticket holder. So hopefully we'll be able to. But I tend to sit at the clock end, upper tier, because I go with my wife and she's a disabled member, and that's where our seats are, up that end.
Well, Kev, we've not seen you since, when was it? Sheffield United away, really. So
I did see Fergus coming away from the West Ham game, but he looked so upset, and I was with the missus. I thought, I'm not going to say anything because I wasn't in a good.
Was that the Christmas one?
Yeah, the one we lost 2-0.
Yeah. I wasn't upset because I think West Ham actually schooled us on the day, and it was one of those ones that we actually taken the chin. I was more disappointed when I sat in the pub. I couldn't get a ticket to the Fulham game. I was more disappointed about that game than anything else. So yeah.
I keep trying to come get down earlier and meet you in the pub beforehand.
You know which pub. Make sure we meet up. Let us know, mate. We'll make sure we meet up, mate.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. So, but I've been meeting Mike as well and a few other people.
They go the other side of the ground. They go over the Tully and stuff like that. We're the Blackstock Road end. So, Kevin, Kevin, not Keith. Thank you very much for joining us. I really enjoyed it. Just keep on doing it. Look, we've got nearly 1,300 people watching us at the minute. I have a big shout out to Albert who's hooked us in with a link on Twitter as well. So we've got lots of people watching us and really enjoyed it. If you do like what we're doing, do what Kevin and Dale and many others regulars do. Go to YouTube, go to Guns and Yellow Ribbons on YouTube, click on subscribe, and you'll get to know us some more. Kevin, thanks very much.
Do a thumbs up, do a like, so the show gets pushed as well.
Yeah, it does help to push us up so we get visible. But as you know, we do this as a hobbyist thing. We're not out to be famous or rich, or definitely not rich. But yeah. Kevin, thank you very much. Have a great evening. Love to the wife and all the family.
Yeah. Okay, lovely.
Kev, thanks a lot, mate. But the next time you come on, I want you to give us a tune on that Joanna behind you, mate.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, it'll have to be a virtual tune because that's a virtual piano. Because I'm out in the shed area here. I'm pushed out.
He's not used to He never done this work from home stuff. He always done working in the office sort of thing. So he never done virtual backgrounds. I could see it was a green screen all along.
That's it. I've always worked. I've worked in a school for years. So yeah. Okay, right. Cheers. See you guys.
Take care, mate. Take care, mate.
Bye. Oh, dear. Flip around landscape, then we can see more of your ugly face.
I can try.
Yes, you look.
There
Yeah,
we go.
you look
Oh,
more
my
and more like
Lord.
Jamie.
Oh my
Oh,
dear.
my
It's
Lord.
Jamie. It's Jamie O'Hara. How are you? How are you, Jamie O'Hara?
I'm all good. Just want to say, gents, firstly, it's been a cracking show tonight. I've really, really enjoyed it. There's I've got a kitchen full of people, and I've come next door to be on here tonight. But you stole my
What?
thunder.
Are
I was
you on
gonna
your
mention-
phone? You're on your
I
phone.
am on my phone. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, walk in. Say hello.
You know what? I'm going to do that. There's going to be two of them who kick off. But
Who's
there'll be
that?
the rest.
Who do they
What are they?
support?
What
Yeah,
are
look,
they?
they're watching you on the other screen. Here we go. Look, they're watching on the other screen.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Oh, the boys. Look at the boys. Boys, make sure you get Dad to buy you the new kits, mate, straight away. Don't worry.
Yeah.
No,
Trevor special.
Trev, you may remember I already did that, but because I was drunk, I bought two of the wrong size.
Oh, yeah. He's selling half price.
He's selling at price. Jamie O'Hara, he's selling at price. Dale. How good of a season was it for you? Who was your player of the season? What was your game of the season? Home, away, abroad, wherever.
I'm going to break that into three. So my game of this season would probably be the Wolves at home, because it was my first game, as I mentioned. I took the whole family to, and it was a cracker. Yeah, it was only 2-1, but it could have easily been significantly more. My player of the season, hands down, Martin Odegaard. I think he has given us something that we need. It leads from the front. I don't need to say what's already been said. Martin Odegaard all day long. My moment of the season was Porto away. We spoke about it briefly in the WhatsApp groups the other day when it was the birth of the Gabrielle song, and on that train to Porto, it was just absolutely electric. Absolutely electric. Probably, no, without a doubt, my moment of the season.
Trevor? Come off mute, Trevor. It just makes it so much easier for him to
First time
understand you.
I've done that in a couple of weeks. Look, let Dale finish off, mate, because I've got a little bit of Trev time that's going to take about a minute. So, let Dale finish. Dale, so you said Porto away was your best moment. What was our best performance I nearly said at Highbury then. What was our best performance at home all season, mate?
I don't even have to think about that. For me, it was Liverpool. No, and people say that Liverpool weren't on the ball that day. They weren't on the ball because we didn't allow them to be. We were fantastic. I don't know why. Every time I look at that photo, I always think Alan Carr. But
really,
I do.
He looks like he's got a tiny little body and a great big potato head.
But a joined head. Where's that hat? What doesn't fit anyway? With the kid's hat.
No, Theo's got that now. I've got this one now. It fits me fine.
I've got mine actually. I've never seen it. Look, got me block 8 on there. Got me big shout out on there. So who's on that one? But no, I think the Liverpool game for me, we absolutely did not allow Liverpool to play. We were fantastic that day. And it wasn't that Liverpool weren't at the races. We didn't allow them to be at the races. Yes, there were moments in the game that could have changed it either way, but we were superb. Absolutely superb. For me, that was my performance of the season.
Final question, Del, because we have really gone. We've gone way over our hour. I did think it was going to go longer, but Trevor's got to get in trouble as well. Should we have done better this season in cup competitions? And do you think we can challenge right to the top in the Champions League next season? Draw permitting.
First question, could we have done better in the cup competitions? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. The reality is, if season had finished any other way and results had gone our way, then it'd be a different conversation, right? But if you don't win it, you can always do better. There's the reality. So could we have done better? Yes. How could we have done better by winning it? But the season didn't pan out that way. Can we win the Champions League? Yes. Will we? I don't know. But I think there will be priorities next season. I think the priority has to be the Premier League, because when you look at the achievements of this season, the amount of goals we scored, the clean sheets we kept, obviously Raya got the Golden Glove, the way we performed. We lost one game since the turn of the year and drew one. Any other league, that form wins you the league. We're just unfortunate that we're against the cheating juggernaut that is Manchester City. And we all know that when they come to the last 10, 15 games of the season, they don't drop points. So for me, I would happily prioritise the Premier League, because that is something we've missed. We've missed it for 20 years. And it's not because we've been poor for 20 years.
Stupid question, because Trevor will call it a stupid question. If you were guaranteed to win... No, sorry, I can't say guaranteed. If you were to win either the Premier League or the Champions League next season, which one would you like to win first?
That's an easy one. It's for me, mate, Trev. I'd take the Champions League all day long. I know it means so much to Trev. He wants to see it. I'd love to see it. I don't think it's the sort of thing that can come around. We're talking 20 years, right, since we won the Premier League. We're talking never since we won the Champions League. So these things don't come around very often.
I get all of that. I just think I'd love to win the Champions League as Premier League champions. So going in, winning the Champions League as champions. Trevor, I don't need to ask you. I know you want so desperately to win the Champions League, because you say it's, you know, it's the one you want to, before you pop your mortal coil. Not that you're going anywhere for a long, long time, but it's the one that you want.
You're absolutely right to say that, and I don't hide the fact that I'd love to see us win the Champions League in my lifetime. I think this season we were very close. We played Bayern Munich really well, and we didn't get the win at home. We gave away a silly goal at home, and that ended up costing us, because I thought, although we lost away 1-0 in the away leg, I thought we played the game that we really needed to play. And we just came out second best ever so slightly. We weren't hammered. We weren't battered. We came out ever so slightly second best. And another season, we get to the final of the Champions League, and we're all going to Wembley on the 1st of June. But it wasn't to be, and our time will come again. Our time will come again. Those photos that Fergus is putting through there are all of our of our European trips that, you know, we've been fortunate enough to go on our European trips with some fantastic people. Not everyone can make every game, and that's understandable, because it doesn't come cheap going to follow the Arsenal in Europe. But we didn't have a bad trip this year, really. Lons was a bit of a test, but it wasn't a bad trip, and we've had some great trips with great people. You've been asking people about the games of the season, Ferg, and I was thinking earlier today, and I couldn't pick a game of the season, mate, right? But I think the first important one for me was we beat Man United 3-1 at home in the Premier League, all right, because that was early in the season and it set the scene, and we need to beat Man United, you know. And then we go to Bournemouth, is another important one for me. Important because our captain showed great captaincy and pushed Kai Havertz to the penalty spot, and that was what started Kai Havertz on where he is. Do you know what I mean? Fantastic, you know. Then we beat Man City 1-0 at home, Ferg. Dale, we beat Man City 1-0 at home, and we put that one to bed, you know. And it was a last-minute winner and all, and by God, did we celebrate that, eh? You know. And then, of course, we started to run of scoring loads of goals. We go to Sheffield United and we win 5 or 6-0. No, we beat Sheffield United 5-0 at home, and I'm thinking that's possibly the worst Premier League team I've ever seen, you know. Then we go to Newcastle and we get done out of a point because of VAR. Right, we're not going to go on to VAR tonight. We're not going to go on to it. And then we have a few weeks later we go and we play away at Luton, and Luton played brilliantly, and we still managed to beat them. You know.
Trev,
while I'm going through these.
Trev, stop a second. Look. In the background, we've got all these lads, all these little fellow gooners. We're going to give them a chance to get to sing an Arsenal song, and then we'll let you go, and then me and Trev will close up the show.
Before I do that, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys and Dan and Alex as well. You've made me massively feel like a part of the Guns and the Yellow Ribbons crew. It really is. It's a family within a family. It really is. So that's a massive thank you on that. But so on that note, boys, what song do you want to sing?
Zinchenko.
Zinchenko.
Samina, waka waka, 60 million down the drain. Kaya, but scores again. Samina, waka waka, 60 million down the drain.
Kai Havertz
again.
Lovely.
Right, we stop now. On that note, gents, I'll let you go. But thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your barbecue. Thank you, Dale.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, lads. Have a great evening, boys.
And you. Bye.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Are you looking at those numbers up there?
I know, mate. We have got so many people watching us. I'm watching it, and I'm thinking,
there's nearly
wow.
1,500 people watching. We listen. We're a small little hobbyist podcast, and we're really, really, really touched that like people have actually.
Yeah,
Go on.
We don't dramatise, do we, Ferg? I won't dramatise. I'll tell you if I think players have played badly, but I'm not going to rip them to pieces. I'm never going to swear and curse them all. I've even seen people wish death on some people, and that will never happen. We just fans of the Arsenal, and I say it a lot, and I just love coming on here, and I forget that I'm watching. I forget that people are watching. I'm just talking to my mates about the Arsenal, you know. And it's exactly you, Ferg. You started this baby a few years ago, and we've slowly grown, and we've got better at it, you know. We really are. But Ferg, you know, I'll let you finish off in a minute because I've got to go back to this because I was up to the game we won at Luton, didn't we? Right? You know what I mean? And then the rot started to set in. We lost at Villa. We didn't play brilliantly at Villa. And
shall I open another beer?
That's the first one where I think maybe that was one of them that we could have done better, you know. But then we go to Liverpool and we draw 1-1, and it's possibly the best game of football I've ever seen because Liverpool were on top of their form that day. Trust me, Liverpool were playing some sparkling, quick football, and the Arsenal matched them. Yeah, we were a bit lucky at the end, but we could have scored more in the first half. So I was so proud of the Arsenal that day. And then what happens? We're going to lose to West Ham and we lose to Fulham 2 in a row, and you're thinking, oh God, this is where the Arsenal of today and Arteta show their class, because we lose them 2 games in a row, and you're thinking, oh God, the wheels ain't going to drop off, are they? The wheels ain't going to drop off. But why were we worried? Because after that, we go and spank Crystal Palace 5-0. We have a good win away at Forest where we struggled, you know. And then we win at home against Liverpool. We put 6 past West Ham and 6 past Burnley. We put 4 past Newcastle. Then we put another 6 past Sheffield United, you know. And then we go. What a day that was, Ferg. Then we go away to Man City, right? And we're on the back of a brilliant run. And you're thinking, we can go Man City and win. We really can. But I think we've been called out for parking the bus in that game away at Man City, Ferg, right? And for me, nothing could be further from the truth. We've been winning games and scoring goals for fun. But Arteta knew that if we went to Man City and played in that style, we'd probably get beaten. Because Man City will play round you or through you or over you. They're very, very good, as we all know. And I thought it was a masterclass that day. And if we'd have nicked it 1-0, we wouldn't have been spoiled. But I came away with the 0-0 really, really happy. And then, of course, we lose at home to Villa. That's the one that grates. But then we beat Chelsea 5-0. And then we win at Tottenham, right? And we only win 3-2 at Tottenham. But let me tell you, right? Tottenham came so close to getting a hiding that day. Tottenham, we were 3-0 up. The goalkeeper makes a brilliant save from Saka to stop it going 4-0. And then Raya makes his mistake, and that changes the whole direction of the game. And we end up giving 2 goals away. But that was a great win. And then, of course, we saw the season out nicely. And as Lyle said earlier, right, the best till last, that away game at Manchester United, I was so, so proud to be an Arsenal fan that day. We sung our heads off. We stayed 45 minutes after the end of the game. I know the rain was falling, but that wasn't the reason. The reason was that we had put that ghost to bed. Old Trafford with fans in had gone. We've put it right. We've won 1-0. And once again, masterclass from Arteta. We went there the previous season, played brilliantly, but got beat 3-1 by being silly and got beaten on the break. Arteta weren't going to do that this time. We took the lead, and if we got a second, we'd get a second. But our main priority was we weren't letting Man United score. And it worked. It was absolutely a fantastic game of football. So proud. And the reason I've gone through all them, Ferg, is because you've asked people to choose their games. They've rightfully chosen games. But for me, right, it's been about the season, mate. It's been about the season. Yeah, we've lost 2 or 3 games that we're gutted about because one of them games lost us the league. But come on, look at the bigger picture. We've been absolutely fantastic. We've got a great squad, great manager, great backroom staff, an owner that's putting his money where his mouth is. And then there's me and you supporting the team, Ferg, along with 60-odd thousand other fans every week. that don't let us down. And just to finish off, I had my shirt off a few times this season. A few people that on social media that ain't even in Europe, they're from outside Europe, have not said the most pleasant things about my body. But I just like to warn you, that body ain't going away next season. That body will be out winning trophies, and I don't care what anyone thinks. I love everybody. I love our players. I love our club all my life. So proud of our fans. And Ferg, I even love you, mate. And now I'm losing my voice, so I'm shutting up.
Oh, there's something wrong with you. Listen, some great memories of the season. There's us four, the core four from the podcast, and Dale as well. We've got Billy Arneson and Simon on there. So down at Brighton away. This is you with your bicycle rack. Sorry, your that blew my phone up the other day. That Susanna, she took that on behalf of the Arsenal. It was brilliant. Listen, you know what? It's so true what you said. It is. I couldn't pick a game. The Liverpool game for me probably was the season's highlight as a home game because it was my birthday. As you know, my birthday is a difficult time for me personally. I lost my mum 5 years ago on my birthday. So this one was reclaiming it because the game fell on my birthday itself. My friends, good friends like you and Andrew and Dale and Lyle and others all gathered around, and they were really supportive. Everyone knew. Everybody just tapped me on the shoulder every now and then. You all right? All right,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And it was just beautiful. And then we had such a good result. It was fantastic. But it just sums up what it is to be an Arsenal fan. I had dinner. My wife's just popped out tonight. She goes around to some friend's house while I do this anyway. But I was speaking to my wife beforehand, and she said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, head's a shed." To be honest, I said, "I'm just not with it." She said, "Why? Is it because the football's over?" I said, "Nah, because I don't want to think that it's like that bad. The football means that much." But I said, I don't have really anything to do. I don't have any interest. All I do is the football. And then an ABBA song came on with ABBA Voyage, and it's called Voulez-vous, aha, running down the wing, hear the Arsenal sing. Straight into the second song, mate. It's listen. It's 90 days, as you said, until we get football back. I cannot wait. Yes, I will be following the Euros from a distance. I will be supporting England as a proxy England fan, but you know, Ireland aren't in there, and I just like Arsenal. But I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight. It's been really, really enjoyable. Your company and everybody else's company as well. Who did we have on first, Trev? Who was on first?
There's been so many good people.
There was Fionn. No, before Fionn.
What's his name? Huss.
Yeah, Huss. There was Huss, Fionn, Lyle, Dale, Kevin, Theo, and Andrew. Thank you all for joining the show and making the effort. Thank you for everybody who has joined us in the chat. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea to get the phone out and talk, but we do love all the comments that are in there. We will be back next Monday with another podcast. We will do our European tour next Monday, and we'll talk about some of these.
Going on a European tour.
We'll talk about some of these photos that we got lined up here. So we'll try and get some more. I'll clear some space because there's only a certain amount you got in the studio thing. Go on.
Listen, you talk about emotions, right? I've been watching Arsenal Football Club for about 51 years now. I've had some seasons, quite a few seasons, where I couldn't go to many games because bringing my kids up and all that. But through thick and thin, through highs and lows, I've always loved that club, and I've always got emotional about them. You know me, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And mate, you're the same. And the day that stops will be the day I stop going to the Arsenal. So I know for a fact it'll be the day I turn my toes up, mate, because I will never, ever not love this club.
Press the button.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, press the button.
You know what? There was one I was going to play, but it's slightly out of date, but I love it. It's the 22-23 season. This one here. I'm going to play this and then we're going to go.
As I walk these streets alone, through this borough I call home, upon the barren fields of ivory, neath the stadiums of stone, through the turnstiles at the Angel, see the homeless on the green, from the Cali to the cross, and every shithole in between. Past the church, the mosque, a crack den, and the offie on the corner. See the brasses from the brothel that pretends to be a sauna. Watch the bedlam in the bookies, see the winners and the losers seeking solace from their sorrow in the local battle cruisers. Through the madness in the market, weathered faces turn to greet ya. Hello governor, how's your mother? You're right son, be lucky geezer. Double pie and mash and liquor, a couple of rosy lee-up chap, or watch retired gangsters bicker every day in Arthur's calf. The little fuckers causing trouble for the causes make you smile. You meet your muckers for a couple, forget your troubles for a while. From the full nil to the hemi, all the faces are the same, cause the manner might be changing, but the people still remain.
Here we go.
Whatever the weather, these streets are our own, and my heart will leave you never. My blood will forever run through the stone. As I walk these streets alone, through a kingdom made of chrome, I see them ripping up the cobbles and tearing down our childhood homes. I see the architecture changing, watch the history disappear, and the skyline rearranging into towers of veneer. But I see the remnants of a London that they thought they could erase. Every time I hear the old school talk about the good old days, or every time I watch the football, Nabba Ruby with the lads, see an oyster selling clobber, or a dealer shotting bags. It's in the single mothers juggling a baby and a job, in every single brother struggling that wound up in the dock. It's in the roots and the foundations still clinging to the land. It's in the bricks that built the Moreland and Popham that still stands. It's in my family and my friends, in every gram and every bend. It's in the roots that we inherit when a generation ends. It's in the rooms of your youth and the faces of your past, cause the manner might be changing, but the people always.
Good God, Trevor. Oh my good God. Have you that, you know, that very last bit, that Champions League bit, is going to get us done for copyright. The whole thing is going to get pulled down off YouTube afterwards.
I can't. I'm just done now. I'm just done. So many people watching. I'm going to say it for about the 10th time. I'm truly humbled by all you people that want to sit and listen to us talk about the Arsenal, but that's our remit. Other people have different remits. Other people approach it in different ways, and I'm not saying that's good or that's bad, but with Fergus and myself and Dan and Alex and Dale and anyone else that comes and joins us, we just love our Arsenal. That's all we do. And I can't wait for next season. Cannot wait for next season, Ferg.
We will be back next Monday night with the European tour. And we will think of some things over the summer. We will need a bit of downtime as well, because this does take quite a lot of time to prepare and everything else. But, we've got real jobs and lives and wives and everything else to take care of. Trevor, as always, my mate, thank you. Been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. I speak to you more than I speak to my wife, but I thoroughly enjoy when we do this.
Yeah, I can't tell people. As soon as the phone rings, my wife she says to me, "Yeah, it's your other wife. You better answer it."
I just go like that. And she goes, "Oh, he sees the man with the tats." She says, "All right, I'll speak to you in 15 minutes.
Come on. We've got to close this off. I don't want to go. I'll talk about the Arsenal all night, but
yeah, I know.
We've got to go. Thank you again, everybody. Ferg, do the business. Son.
Up the Arsenal, fuck the Spurs.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.